Hey guys, and welcome back to Sonic Adventure 2. In this part, we're wrapping up the main story here with Amy. Now, actually, one thing I do want to mention is that if you save and quit in the middle of Canon's Core, like when you start the stories back up again, they have that dialogue thing where you can barely hear what anybody's saying because the music's too goddamn
I'm
loud,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
and then you just can't hear
Somebody turn that goddamn music down.
But Amy is the one who commentates for Canon's Core for some reason, so I figured.
Yeah,
I
she
will- I will
does
have to-
look weird.
I have to say though, my favorite thing about those is there's one I think it's after the level where it's like you're racing back to get to Eggman to save Amy. It starts with the plane went off without a hitch, except Eggman captured Amy. And I'm like Ryan Drummond's delivery, I always thought was hilarious.
Can I just bring attention to a detail on Shadow's model that I'm actually surprised that they included? You know how when you're wearing like a wristband or something, there's always going to be that flap of it that sticks out. They never actually detail that in models because it looks awkward, and they'd rather just make it look like the like the wristband or whatever it is fits perfectly around the wrist with no surplus whatsoever, because that's cool. Shadow, no, his golden wristband, whatever, the somersault thing. I think it's the somersault thing.
It's
or
probably
maybe it's
the
just
fire
his regular,
ring.
or maybe it's just his regular bracelets. In this game only, because his other models don't do this, he has that little flap of something sticking out that says that shows you that it doesn't perfectly fit. It's just unique because no game ever does that ever.
To go back to, we talked about the motion. I love that little tear, so anime. And Amy's animation in this scene is fucking horrendous.
Yeah, but
She's like drunk or like on drugs or something.
Constipated.
yeah,
I
but
would
then
say
again, the
constipated.
same could be true of everyone. It's just that when Amy talks, she has this cross-eyed facial expression.
I would say Shadow. I'm not sure if they had someone actually good at the motion capture, but Shadow I think is the only character who has. His animation isn't amazing, but he has the best animation.
Well,
It's his
part of the
it's his
reason for that-
personality. I
yeah.
think his personality leads to movements that are easier to animate because he's the kind of guy who will
Subdued.
stare. He's the kind of guy who will stand cross-eyed at the back of the room and occasionally make a snide comment because he's a dick like that, and that doesn't take a lot of work to
Yeah.
animate. So
he's me. Good to know.
Yeah.
One thing about this, I like that it's Sonic and Knuckles. Like it's them two only on this mission. I wish that games would team
yeah,
those two up more.
Knuckles kind of after Adventure 2 especially, Knuckles got kind of left in the dust, which in just a comic relief character. Like I think the biggest example is 06, where he's just a goofball in that for no good reason, and it's
He
I
exists
saw Eggman on the
for some
outskirts of
reason.
town. He gave me a postcard for you.
okay, so
Yeah, everyone after this game definitely has some sort of significance, unlike a certain echidna I know.
yeah, no, Tails kind of loses importance too.
Starts. I would know.
Well,
I would
until
say
colors,
He
until
after two
colors.
colors.
Yeah.
Kind of Unleash because he's kind of like the secondary. Like after Chip, he's the most important. But yeah, colors. I do like that they keep making Tails very important now,
Yeah.
which is he kind of should be.
He's the sidekick, so he should be.
Just
Yeah.
to underline that this is really not Sonic's story, it's Shadow's story. It's actually Shadow who gets the extremely difficult boss fight lead
Also,
into the super
he's
fight.
not. He doesn't have
Yeah.
anything in the level, so he gets the boss fight. So that's what I like.
No,
and for
no,
my
no,
money,
no,
this
no,
is
no,
one
no,
of the...
no, 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 no.
Okay, go.
It's the other way around. He doesn't have anything in the level because he gets the boss fight. They gave him the most important part, and the rest of it was lead into this.
Yeah.
Well, Lewis, technically, but it's also a story reason why Shadow isn't involved.
Well, yeah,
in
but there's a deliberate reason why they did it that way. It's because they wanted Shadow to have the final encounter. And yeah, he shares the super form fight with Sonic, but the lead-in boss with the epic unique boss theme and the ultimate life form and all that, it's his confrontation with his prototype.
Well, it's also the fact that again going back to the main like Ruse and Tails were added in at the last second. All the other characters get specific non character boss fights like Sonic and Eggman both have the egg golem. You know, a few of them have the
gun robots.
Gun robots, kind of, but not like Shadow, with the exception of the gun robot, which is just a copy of Sonic's boss fight. Shadow doesn't really have any good bosses, so this is maybe just we should give Shadow a boss.
Yeah, that's true.
thing.
And for my money, I think that I know that John disagrees with this. I think the Bio-Lizard is the best fight in the game. Fine.
Oh yeah, easily the best fight in the game.
would.
Disagree.
Okay,
yeah.
John, explain
Only because the
why,
bosses
I
in SA2 are pretty bad. That's why.
I think
it's the best of a bad
I
bunch.
think the thing that you have to do at the end of the fight is nothing like you do in the rest of the fight.
Oh,
It's a
are you
complete
talking about?
change.
Are you
Oh,
talking
that's
about the
bullshit. Yeah, that's
bubbles?
bullshit.
The
It's a-
floaty
it's-
thing.
Yeah, the last hit, when you're delivering the final hit, you are doing nothing compared to what you've been doing this entire fight. You know, it's like if you're fighting Bowser and Mario, for like the first 7 hits, you know, you're doing the little spin attack or you're throwing them around the tail, and then for the final hit, you're playing a first-person
Stabbing.
shooter.
It's not that. It's
You
not.
know,
It's not that drastic, dude. I think.
No. But yeah, I'm just making a comparison.
Honestly, John, the part that throws me off most is this depth perception while you're trying to dodge the goddamn floaty
Really?
ball things.
I don't have a problem with that.
Lewis, the thing that you should do is tap the
I
somersault button
know
a
how
few
to do
times.
it. It's just that the timing throws me off because I'm looking at what I'm like physically looking at in the game is a 2D energy sprite flying at me in a 3D plane, and it's hard to tell where exactly it is. So I sometimes slightly miss time and get hit anyway.
Mr. BrainScratch, how come when you hit the Bio-Lizard, it makes the Thundercats roar?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, speaking of like battle roars, if you listen closely, he makes the perfect chaos roar.
Yep.
Oh, he
Like at
does.
the beginning of the fight.
Oh,
Yeah, he makes the perfect chaos roar.
It's slightly altered, but
No, it's the exact same fucking roar.
Would you say, Ryan, would you say it's an altered beast?
Yeah.
you know,
God.
I'm caught between my reasonable explanation for that and my I'm gonna go into complete fan wake theory about that. The fan wake one is because
Thundercats go.
sure that, but also because Gerald experimented on chaos stuff and all that. But more realistically, they probably just reused the sound file.
Yeah.
I will say though, for me, I think the version in Generations 3DS, well, yes, it makes no sense why Sonic fights him because he never fought him. I think because they keep it on a strictly 2D plane actually improves this boss quite a bit.
But you know, that ending bit there, what really screws you over isn't how different it is, it's that when you get to the middle, when you're floating up and down, there's a chance you'll just bump into the side of the metal plate instead of going on top of it. That slows you down while you're being bombarded with homing missiles.
And honestly, and this is the smallest problem I have with it, but it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like I'm gonna turn off gravity now. There you go.
Okay, it's a monster with powers. I don't. It's for me what
Yeah.
I enjoy.
Yeah, no, that's why I say it's the smallest problem I have.
Yeah, but then you also have to wonder, how is Shadow moving?
He's
Magic.
He's the ultimate life form.
He's the coolest. But personally, in
I
that,
have to say,
well, I'm just gonna say I enjoy the fight partially because it's pretty damn difficult. The first time you fight it, you're gonna lose a lot of lives, and there aren't a lot of moments in Sonic games that are truly difficult, and so I appreciate that. And it's pretty dynamic.
It is climactic.
Yeah.
Here's the
except
thing,
for this
though,
bit,
okay?
where it chaos controls to stick its ass into the fucking.
Yeah,
cat.
here's the thing about the Bio-Lizard, the final hazard. Okay, it displays no personality of its own, yet it is apparently willingly helping Gerald Robotnik destroy the world. How does that work?
He
Did
programmed.
Gerald program
Honestly,
it?
he
Did
programmed it. Again, this is something that they don't really explain, but it's essentially an extension of Gerald because when the Bio-Lizard appears, it plays that clip of all the feel my loss and despair. That they play that clip, so the lizard's supposed to be an extension of Gerald, and you can't have a boss fight against Gerald because he's a goat. Or maybe King Boo Boo is Gerald's ghost, and you fight him. Yeah.
I love Knuckles. I love Knuckles' dumbfounded expression. And so when we were talking about Ruse's dick car, and Lewis was like, Japanese developers like to sneak stuff in. I don't know how the fuck they got away with this. Like, we've all made the joke. I made it myself, but like they clearly masturbated and they climax here, and then Shadow turns white. Like, seriously, what the fuck?
Super Sonic and Super Shadow look very weird in SA2 for some reason. It looks like they're painted gold.
The textures are weird. The textures are very weird.
They look like they're made of metal.
Yeah, they have this metallic sheen to them, but it's not as pronounced as in Sonic Heroes or Shadow the Hedgehog, I think, because they also had additional lighting effects.
I think Super Shadow looks stupid in Shadow the Hedgehog, personally.
Okay, last time Shadow and Sonic were on screen together, I was trying to say something and got completely, sidelined by another discussion, so I want to say it now before Shadow kicks the bucket. The rivalry between Sonic and Shadow has an interesting dynamic to it that kinda sets it apart from the Sonic and Knuckles rivalry, in the sense that these two aren't actively, at each other's throats the whole time. The rivalry stems more from they're meeting each other, and they realize right off the bat that despite having completely different motivations for everything, they're also really similar people in certain key ways.
I agree with that, because Shadow is like a warped reflection of Sonic in a lot of different ways. Because they both share a certain kind of cockiness and arrogance, whereas, Sonic is more playful, Shadow is far more serious, but they still think very highly of themselves, they still are impatient, they still are very cocky.
They're perfect counterbalances.
Yes, and
that's the thing, is like, when you meet someone who's completely different from you and butt heads with them, that's a thing, and maybe they have similar abilities. You'll respect them in one way, but when you meet someone who is distinctly similar to you and yet different, that is... It gets you thinking about yourself, in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you could have been different.
Yeah, I just wish they did more development on Sonic thinking of Shadow, because they do plenty of Shadow thinking of Sonic, but not the other way around. Sonic is a very static character.
I would love to be in fucking NASA headquarters as they see, sir, there's something on the monitor. It appears to be a giant lizard with a fucking space station stuck up its arse heading for the planet.
I think that
I
mean, we completely forgot to talk about the boss fight, but I think the Final Hazard Supersonic fight's pretty fun.
It's fun. I mean, it's very reminiscent of Perfect Chaos. Just run into it.
I feel it controls a bit better than Perfect Chaos fight, though.
It's almost a fun boss fight, but I only say almost because at the end, the lasers get dickishly good at intercepting you.
Well, something that you might not know is that you can go, if you're running out of rings, you can send Sonic and Shadow to the side and they'll swim.
Yeah.
You know what? But that I bring that up as a point against the game, the fight. They don't tell you how to do that.
They say go get rings, but they don't say how to do it. You're right.
But they don't tell you how.
I only found out. I only found out that you could do that because I accidentally missed Final Hazard at one point as Sonic, and suddenly I was Shadow again.
Yeah, that's how it happened to me too.
It was like, if you fly past Final Hazard, you'll switch headshots.
I think you have to fly towards the arc, I think is what it is.
Yeah, you have to fly to pretty much the opposite end. Yeah.
But you know what that also sort of implies that Shadow is the last one outside the arc, like
no, I think the fight does have different if Sonic lands the last blow, he has his own victory quote. But honestly, I think that Shadow should be the one to land the final blow against the Final Hazard. It just makes more sense from a story perspective. So, yeah.
Yeah, because there is actually a little subplot going on in the middle of that fight where Shadow is slowly losing energy.
Yeah, but you don't notice unless you take a long time with it.
Well, yeah, you have to. Yeah, because actually, there is a time limit to that boss. You only have 5 minutes.
And one thing I do like is that the longer the fight takes, not only do you get dialogue, but you can see the thing falling into the Earth's atmosphere, like the sky gets red and stuff like that.
But you know what, though? I hate that, because you should leave crucial plot details like that to cutscenes and not for something that you may or may not... that's what
Shadow, you're actually real. I found you on
Exactly.
It's not that bad in this game, though. You will hear Shadow, are you okay, a lot before...
8 minutes on Devil Dude.
I have a point / counterpoint for that. The point in favor of it is that rather than necessarily being entirely focused on a crucial plot point, I think that the overall the fact that you're getting weaker over time and you're getting closer to the Earth makes you feel pressure the longer you take, which is good from a narrative standpoint in gameplay. However, the point to mention that Shadow was getting weaker during the fight is one they probably should have interjected the boss fight halfway with a short little cutscene.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, you know how you remedy that? For 3 different phases of that fight, you have a small cutscene in between showing that Shadow is losing himself.
The dialogue, for what it's worth, I will say that the dialogue there's a lot of dialogue saying, Shadow, are you okay? Shadow, you're getting weaker. Even if you blaze through the boss fight, you will still hear 1 or 2 of those lines. So that's why I don't, and since it's such a minor thing, as opposed to, again, Shadow, you're actually not a robot 8 minutes into the boss fight. That's why I think it's okay. And
it's just that the relative ease with which you can miss that, and
you might not be paying attention. You're right.
No, and I'm not finished. And the lack of explanation after the fight for why Shadow specifically fell to Earth. It kind of results in Shadow's death feeling like it was forced, even though all of the pieces are there for it to happen.
I like Shadow's death because it's the kind of feeling that I think that it should have, in that they don't necessarily. Again, this is how they kind of treat Gerald. They should have treated Gerald, and in that they don't say that necessarily that Shadow was entirely right, but they do acknowledge that he tried to redeem himself, unlike Gerald did. So
Gerald didn't. Well, Gerald isn't backwards, really. He did something good, then he became a bad guy.
Shadow was always kind of neutral until, because he was just like, what the fuck am I here on the arc for? Up until this point.
You can acknowledge that a bad person did good things without necessarily lionizing them.
Yes.
Which, it's the Severus Snape argument, But, like on Twitter earlier this week, J.K. Rowling was talking about that. You can't make a saint or a devil out of Snake, because he was a pretty horrible person, but he also did some really good and vital things.
Because he was thinking of his dick. Fuck that guy.
Harry, Albus Severus Potter is a stupid ass name.
Harry Potter is the worst father in the world to inflict his son to go to school with that. I would say, what do you guys, I'm gonna say, live and learn, I think. Most overrated song.
I was about to bring up, are we just not going to talk about this song?
I think, we skipped on 3 really good musical pieces, because I love Supporting Me.
Supporting Me is great. There's a name for it, but the track that plays during that last cutscene is great. I dislike the term overrated nowadays, because it essentially is saying to other people, you shouldn't like this because too many people like this.
I'm not saying, it's like I don't get me wrong, I love, but for now, Rest Our Heroes. I love Live and Learn. It's a good song. I just it's kind of like when people make lists of top 10 Mega Man tracks, for a fact Wily 2 is going to be number 1.
It does overshadow other songs, I will agree, but with that said,
I think Open Your Heart's a better song. Open Your Heart's a better song.
Okay.
No, I still feel Live and Learn is better than Open Your Heart.
Yeah.
Ryan, shut up.
This is, again, music is 100% subjective, so even though both songs are great and it's a matter of opinion, you're still wrong.
That means I'm right and you're wrong.
Exactly.
There are no wrong opinions unless they come from Ted.
I would say music is more like 98% subjective. That last 2% has to be there to cover people who can't play their instruments right.
No, I say general musical taste is subjective is probably a way to put that. Better way to put that, because there are music snobs who are going to come at me with shit about Mozart and music theory, which I just don't give a fuck about right now. So yeah,
but Beethoven, Mozart, June Syndrome.
Yeah, the final cutscene music, the piano piece, is so beautiful.
I think they did get a full orchestra for that.
You know what? What's really weird is that
so.
That I love that scene so much that it for a few minutes, it makes Sonic X tolerable because
Ted, that track is just called The Last Scene.
Oh.
yeah.
They didn't really put a lot of effort into naming that one because it is
In
the
the,
last scene in the game.
In the televised Japanese release of the ending of the SA2 arc in Sonic X, they bring back that music.
So wait, do they play the piano part, or do they play like the da da da
They play,
da da part with the
they
arch?
play-
Johnny,
uh,
I don't think it's that because in Japan they use Live and Learn.
Yeah, no.
They
In
use Live and
Japan,
Learn.
yeah, they use Live and Learn for the BioLizard battle, but when, oh no, you know what? It's when Sonic is leaving the world with the Chaos Control.
Oh, like at the end of
the
this?
mu-
Oh, like right before the Metarex shit.
That sort of shit is part of the reason that I resent 4Kids sometimes, like, because they change the music.
It might have been
and
a licensing
in some cases.
thing,
It's licensing issue. They find it cheaper to compose their own music than to license the goddamn music the anime comes from. So yeah,
Which came from a video game.
yeah, but the thing is, you're doing a Sonic cartoon, right? So you're deliberately pasting over Sonic music with your own stuff. It's kind of like if a foreign country were to license a dub for Star Wars and they replaced all the John Williams tracks.
Well, to be fair, that makes sense because the John Williams Star Wars music is probably some of the most expensive rights of any movie soundtrack. You could
yeah,
ever
but
get.
no one is going to like you for it.
Of course.
Depends, but you replace it with the Sonic 4 score. Just imagine every time Darth Vader walks on, you just get bum 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 bum.
Dying cats everywhere.
Yeah, they just play that meow 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 meow.
No. Instead of
that's
whenever
no John
Darth
Williams
Vader,
music, you
whenever
fool.
Darth Vader appears, it plays that bam 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 bum bum bum.
It plays Oil Desert Act 2 with the ducks.
Meow 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 meow.
Oh, god damn it.
Oh boy, but we're not done yet.
Nope.
We're not. Oh,
One more
man.
part.
Dan, can we play SA1?
No. We already did that game.
Oh.
Go home, Gareth. You're drunk.
But you already did SA2.
Yeah, we did a SA2 revisit it. We could do an SA1 revisit it.
We do SA2 revisited, SA1 revisited.
And then we
Yeah.
gotta
Someday-
redo SA2 again.
We'll
because it's
do it.
better.
Yeah.
We'll do it in like 2-3 years.
Yeah, we'll do it like 5 years
Someday, yeah. But we've got, we want to keep with original commentaries, newer commentaries, and just throw in maybe a revisit every now and then as an extra.
So what
Yeah.
you're saying is the next game we're gonna do is Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric again. Gotcha. Okay, I'm ready.
Absolutely.
With 100% more commentary from me.
So you mean like
So-
3 sentences?
So Ryan just says one word. It's only 100% more than the
I'm
previous
exhausted.
one.
Paycheck.